Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a really interesting career, the story of Mike Vecchione. He's an American pro ice hockey center, and his path, well, it's a fantastic look at how dedication can build a career, especially coming up from the college level without being drafted.
Exactly. Vecchione's journey it's really compelling because it's all about persistence. We've got sources here detailing his whole arc from being this undrafted college star, a Hobey Baker finalist even, then grinding it out for years in the AHL and eventually winning 2 championships there. And now this big pivot, moving over to the KHL.
So our mission today for you listening is basically to map out this unique career. We want to pinpoint the key moments, look at the stats that sort of back up his rise, and figure out how a player who wasn't initially on the radar, well, how he built such real tangible value that translates even internationally. We're going for the deep insights here, not just skimming the surface.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to give you a quick snapshot before we dive in chronologically, Mike Vecchione, born February 25th, 1993. So he's 32 right now as we record this.
Okay.
He's from Saugus, Massachusetts. Physically, 5'10", 194 pounds, a right shot center, plays with speed, smarts, and definitely grit. And as of, August 2025, he's playing for Barys Astana over in the AHL.
Gotcha. Okay, let's start at the beginning then. So, like a lot of these stories, it starts local, Saugus youth hockey, playing for the Valley Junior Warriors. And there's something pretty interesting right off the bat in the source material about his early team.
Oh, yeah, that 1993 team he was on. Apparently, they run 4 straight state championships.
4? Wow.
Yeah. That's more than just having a good youth team, right? It kind of sets a precedent. Winning that consistently, that young, it probably builds this expectation, this drive, where anything less than winning it all feels like, a failure. Probably pretty crucial for someone who ends up being a Game 7 hero later on.
Makes sense. That winning habit seems to have stuck with him. He went to Malden Catholic High School, captained the team there, got them pretty deep into the Super 8 semifinals.
And then, progressing up the ladder. 2010, the Tri-City Storm drafted him into the USHL. He did well there, became an alternate captain eventually, and had a really solid season in 2012-13, put up 60 points.
So clearly a top junior talent in North America. But the college choice, that's where it gets interesting, right? There was a bit of a twist.
Totally. Here's that little surprising fact we found. He was actually committed to UNH first, University of New Hampshire, big Hockey East school.
Right, a major program.
But then he flipped. August 21st, 2012, the records show he officially committed to Union College instead.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. Why the switch? Going from a powerhouse like UNH to Union, which, historically maybe doesn't have quite the same national spotlight, seems like an unusual move.
It likely came down to opportunity and maybe the specific vision the Union coaches sold him. Union, while maybe smaller profile-wise then, could probably offer him a guaranteed major role right away.
Yeah.
And clearly they sold him on the idea they could achieve something big.
And they definitely did. That vision paid off almost instantly, didn't it? Freshman year, 2013-14.
Right away. He led all the rookies on the team in scoring, 34 points in 38 games. That put him 4th among all freshmen in the entire ECAC conference. Solid start.
Good individual numbers, but the team accomplishment that year?
Yeah.
That was massive. He wasn't just a passenger. He was a key part of Union winning its first ever NCAA Division I title in 2014.
Huge. For a program like Union, winning the whole thing, that's not just a championship. It's like program defining. Yeah. Puts him squarely on the national map.
And he got the recognition, too.
Oh, yeah. Awards came rolling in. All ECAC rookie team, ECAC Hockey All-Tournament team, and, significantly, the ECAC Hockey All-Academic team, too. That last one's important. Shows he was already handling the demands of top-level college hockey and serious academics. He majored in history, by the way.
Balancing both is tough. So he progresses sophomore, junior year. The team clearly trusted him.
Yeah, they did. Named an alternate captain partway through his sophomore season. That was 2014-15. And that year, he really established himself as a top playmaker. Led the whole ECAC conference in assists, 31 helpers in 39 games, developing into a genuine #1 center.
And the leadership role just kept growing.
It did. Junior year, 2015-16, he's named co-captain, him and Matt Wilkins. And the source material points out this is actually the first time they'd had co-captains since 2008. So, again, it just highlights how much the coaches valued his maturity, his leadership, especially while he's still hitting the books hard.
And then the production just exploded, didn't it? He started breaking records.
Oh, yeah. January 8th, 2016, he hits 100 career points. And he did it faster than anyone else in Union's Division I history. Only took him 96 games.
Wow, 96 games? That's moving.
It really is.
Yeah.
Shows incredible consistency. Right, just constantly producing. He was, I think, the 26th player in their D1 history to hit that century mark. Finished that junior year strong, got named to the All-ECAC Hockey third team. But the real peak, the climax of his college career, that was senior year, 2016-17.
Okay, so senior year, he's the sole captain now.
Yep, full captaincy.
Now, here's a question, though. He's putting up huge numbers, clearly a leader. Why stay all 4 years? I mean, putting up 63 points in Division I hockey, is that just showing he's ready for the pros? Or is it maybe that he's just, dominating because he's older than the competition by then?
That's a really fair question, and it's key to his story, I think. For a guy who is a high draft pick, yeah, the path is often leave early after a dominant year or two. But Vecchione, undrafted. So for him, staying all 4 years was probably strategic. Maximize development time, hone those leadership skills, and critically, boost his value as a free agent coming out of college. He basically had to be so undeniably good that NHL teams couldn't ignore him, draft status or not.
And he definitely reached that unignorable level. February 3rd, 2017, that's the date he becomes Union's all-time leading scorer in Division I, gets points 158 and 159.
Yeah, cements the legacy right there.
Yes.
That's not just having a good run, that's becoming the guy offensively in the program's history.
And the awards followed that performance.
Big time. ECAC Player's Hockey Player of the Year,
Yeah.
AHCA East First Team All-American, and the big one, a Hobey Baker Award finalist.
Let's talk about that Hobey Baker nomination. What does being a finalist mean, especially for a player with his background?
Well, usually Hobey Baker finalists or winners, they're often high NHL draft picks, right?
Yeah.
Guys the league already has pegged as future stars. Or maybe players who leave college early after a monster season. Vecchione being there. As an undrafted 4-year senior from a smaller program, that's different. It really stands out. His nomination wasn't based on potential or draft hype. It was purely earned. Relentless performance, leadership, year after year, culminating in that final dominant season.
What were the numbers that final year?
Just monster numbers. 38 games played, 29 goals, 34 assists, 63 points. He'd done everything he possibly could at the college level. Nothing left to prove there.
Okay, so college career ends on a massive high, all-time scorer, Hobey Baker finalist, but then comes the transition to pro, and like you said, that starts with a pretty harsh reality. He wasn't drafted by an NHL team.
Right, and that's the central paradox, maybe, of his early career anyway. He proved he was elite at the NCAA level, absolutely dominant. But maybe he didn't have that one specific, maybe elite size, maybe that perceived pro readiness scouts look for that gets you picked high in the draft. So his only path forward was as a college free agent. Had to earn it all based purely on performance.
But because he was so good in college, he was a hot commodity once his season ended, right? Teams wanted him.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Philadelphia Flyers jumped on him pretty quick, signed him to a 1-year entry-level deal on March 31st, 2017. That's just days after Union season finished. They wanted to see if that magic could translate right away.
And they gave him a look in the NHL almost immediately.
They did. His NHL debut was April 4th, 2017. Played against the New Jersey Devils. But, the reality is, and the sources confirm this, across his entire career, Vecchione only played 3 NHL games total.
Just 3.
Yep. 2 with the Flyers right at the start, and then 1 later with the Capitals. 0 points in those 3 games.
Yeah.
So, for whatever reason, cracking a full-time NHL lineup just proved really, really difficult for him.
So if the NHL door didn't quite open, that means the bulk of his early pro career, the real defining period, was spent in the AHL, the American Hockey League, which is known for being a real grind.
Exactly. This is where we get into what you call the AHL roster tour. This period from, say, 2017 to 2020, where he's bouncing between organizations.
And we should probably touch on the contracts here, right? Because that adds another layer of pressure.
Yeah, that's a really important point. Most of these deals he was signing were two-way contracts. And for anyone listening who doesn't know, that means you get paid very differently depending on whether you're called up to the NHL or playing down in the AHL.
Like a big difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Often hundreds of thousands of dollars difference over a season. So there's this constant financial pressure, this urgency to stick in the NHL or at least stay high on the call-up list, makes getting sent down, moving between teams incredibly stressful beyond just the hockey part.
Okay, that context definitely adds weight to the hustle. So he starts in the Flyers system, signed that 2-year, two-way deal in July 2017, gets assigned to their AHL team, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. How did he do initially?
He hit the ground running, which is exactly what you need to do as a free agent signing trying to prove yourself. He was actually named the AHL Rookie of the Month for October 2017. Put up 10 points in his first 10 games.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, but the AHL is tough. Long season, lots of travel. He ran into some injury trouble, missed a couple of weeks in December 2017. Still, even with that missed time, he finished his first full pro season with solid numbers. 40 points, 17 goals, 23 assists in 65 games. That's respectable AHL production, but like we said, not enough to lock down an NHL job.
He played one more year with the Phantoms after that.
Yep, 2018-19. Put up similar numbers, 38 points in 67 games. But after that season, his time with the Flyers organization was up. So, time to pack the bags again.
Where did he land next?
Signed another one-year, two-way deal, this time with the St. Louis Blues. That was July 1st, 2019. Got assigned to their AHL affiliate, the San Antonio Rampage.
Man, that constant moving must be draining. New city, new teammates, new coaches, learn a whole new system, all while knowing your contract's only for a year.
It's incredibly taxing. Think about it. You go from being the undisputed star, the record holder, the captain of union, to essentially being, a journeyman AHL player, trying to carve out a role and prove your worth year after year in a new environment. Psychologically, that's a massive shift.
How did he handle that challenge in San Antonio? Did the production continue?
It seems like he almost thrived on needing to prove himself again. In San Antonio, he really took on a lead offensive role. He actually led the Rampage with 21 goals that season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was second on the team in points with 36. And that was in a season that got cut short because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So he showed, again, when given that top-line opportunity in the AHL, he could absolutely produce and be a go-to guy.
But the moving wasn't over yet, was it?
Nope. The pattern continued. For the 2020-21 season, yet another one-year, two-way contract. This time, with the Colorado Avalanche organization, assigned to the Colorado Eagles in the AHL.
So that's 3 different NHL parent clubs in 3 years.
Exactly. And that year with the Eagles was particularly tough. Injuries hit him again, limited him to only 18 games.
Ouch. On a one-year deal, missing significant time is brutal.
It really is. Lost time is lost opportunity to impress and earn that next contract. But even in those limited 18 games, he still managed 10 points, and 7 of those were goals. So the scoring touch was still there when he played, but the overall picture was one of instability. Constantly proving himself, short-term deals, fighting for opportunity. It really highlights how undervalued he might have been perceived by NHL teams at that point.
Okay, so that first phase of his pro career, defined by movement, short contracts, proving himself over and over. This next chapter, starting around 2021, feels different. It's about finding a home, stability, and ultimately championship success. What changed when he landed in the Washington Capitals organization?
Yeah, this seems to be the turning point. The Capitals organization, and specifically their AHL team, the Hershey Bears, historically a very strong, stable AHL franchise. They seem to offer him something the others hadn't quite provided. First, maybe a clearer role for a skilled veteran AHL scorer, and second, eventually, that crucial commitment.
How did that commitment manifest?
Well, he initially signed a one-year, two-way deal again with Washington on August 5th, 2021. Standard procedure by then, right?
Right.
But then they re-signed him for the next season. And then the big one, February 14th, 2023, he signed a 2-year AHL contract directly with the Hershey Bears.
Ah, okay. So not a two-way NHL-AHL deal, but a straight AHL contract for 2 years. That is different.
Huge difference. That security, knowing you're locked in with one team in one league for 2 full seasons after years of uncertainty, that probably allows a player to just relax and play their game. Focus purely on contributing without worrying about call-ups, demotions, or where they'll be next year.
And it looks like his performance reflected that newfound stability. That 2022-23 season was his best pro season statistically, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Put up 55 points in 68 games for Hershey. Really productive regular season. But the regular season stats, as good as they were, they almost become secondary to what happened in the playoffs that year.
Okay, this is the big moment, right? The 2023 Calder Cup finals.
This is the moment that, elevates a player from good AHL veteran to legend status within that league and organization. We really have to focus on this.
Set the scene for us.
Okay, it's June 21st, 2023. Hershey Bears versus the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Calder Cup finals. It's Game 7. Winner takes all.
Doesn't get any bigger than that in the AHL.
Exactly. The pressure must have been immense. Game 7 goes to overtime. Sudden death for the championship. And who steps up? Mike Vecchione. He scores the game-winning, series-winning goal in overtime.
Wow. OT winner, Game 7 for the Calder Cup.
Yep. For the team that finally gave him that stability, that multi-year deal, it's storybook stuff. That goal doesn't just win a trophy, it validates everything. His entire journey The grind, being undrafted, it proves definitively he's a clutch performer, a guy who delivers when the pressure is absolutely maxed out.
That must have been an incredible feeling for him and for the team. It really changes the narrative around him.
Totally. He goes from being a reliable scorer to the guy who won them the championship in the most dramatic way possible. And what's really impressive is that it wasn't just a one-off flash in the pan. The Bears were building something special.
They won it again the next year, right?
They did. Back-to-back Calder Cups. He was a key part of that second championship run, too, winning it on June 24th, 2024.
Yeah.
That demonstrates sustained excellence, not just one heroic moment.
Okay, let's look at his stats across his whole AHL career, especially during those championship years with Hershey. You mentioned consistency earlier. What do the numbers tell us about his role? Was he primarily a scorer, a playmaker?
Well, looking at the stats we have, his consistency across all those AHL stops, Lehigh Valley, San Antonio, Colorado, Hershey, it really is remarkable given the circumstances. He was consistently putting up between, say, 38 and 55 points almost every full season he played, usually playing 60-plus games, too, so he was durable.
And the type of points, goals versus assists.
That's where you see his versatility. Early on, like that sophomore year at Union or his first year with the Phantoms, the assist numbers were often a bit higher. He was definitely a setup guy. But then, especially in San Antonio, where he led the team in goals, and during that big 55-point season with Hershey in 22-23, he had 16 goals, 39 assists that year. He showed he could finish plays, too. Throughout his AHL career, his goal totals were consistently solid, usually landing somewhere between 15 and 23 goals per season.
So always a threat to score himself, but also setting up teammates, a true dual-threat center.
Exactly. He could win draws, quarterback a power play, make the key pass, or take the big shot himself. His time with Hershey really solidified him as that core veteran leader who brings reliable offense and, crucially, as we saw, the ability to perform under extreme pressure. He basically transformed from that undrafted kid fighting for a spot into a proven multi-time champion at a very high professional level. So after 4 seasons with Hershey, that incredible stability, the back-to-back cups, reaching what seems like the peak of his North American pro career, Vecchione hits another turning point. He's a highly respected AHL veteran, probably making good money there, but maybe seeing limited prospects for another NHL shot. So as a free agent in the summer of 2025, he makes a really significant move.
He decides to leave North America entirely.
Yeah, opts for a major international pivot, heading over to the KHL, the Continental Hockey League.
That feels like a big decision. After finally finding that stability and success with Hershey, why make such a drastic change? New country, new league, completely different style of hockey.
It's definitely a strategic choice. For a player like Vecchione, a proven scorer in a top league like the AHL, but maybe capped out in terms of NHL opportunity, the KHL presents a really attractive alternative.
How so?
Well, generally, the KHL can offer very competitive salaries, often higher than top AHL deals. It's arguably the second-best league in the world, so the competition is elite. And crucially, it offers the chance to be a star player, a go-to guy on a team, rather than potentially being a depth player or call-up option in North America. It's a way to leverage his proven talent and maximize his earnings and playing opportunity in his prime years.
Makes sense. So where did he sign initially?
The first announcement came on July 30th, 2025. He signed a 1-year contract with Traktor Chelyabinsk, a Russian club in the KHL, for the 2025-26 season.
Okay, so deal done, ready to head to Russia. But then something else happened pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting and shows his immediate value over there. Less than 2 weeks after signing with Traktor, before he'd even started the contract, really he was traded.
Traded already.
Yep. On August 12, 2025, Traktor traded his rights to Barys Astana, that's the KHL team based in Kazakhstan, and the return for Traktor, straight-up financial compensation.
Okay, wait. Barys basically bought his contract from Traktor just days after he signed it.
Essentially, yeah. They paid Traktor money to acquire his rights immediately.
From a sort of hockey business perspective, what does that tell us? Why would Barys pay a premium like that?
It speaks volumes about how much they wanted him specifically and how valuable his particular skill set and resume are on the international market. Barys likely identified a need for exactly what a Vecchione brings: proven scoring, professionalism, experience, and maybe most importantly, that championship pedigree.
The Hobey Baker nod, the consistent AHL numbers, the back-to-back Calder Cups.
Exactly. And especially that Game 7 overtime winner. That stuff translates. It signals winner, clutch performer. Traktor signed a good player, no doubt, but Barry saw him as a key piece they needed right now, perhaps a missing element for their own aspirations, and they were willing to pay cash to make sure they got him instead of waiting or pursuing someone else. It shows the immediate, tangible value attached to his name and his history.
So in a way, all that grinding, all that persistence, overcoming being undrafted, it ultimately gave him significant leverage and market value at this stage of his career, even on the global stage.
That's precisely it. He wasn't just moving to the KHL, he was immediately targeted, acquired for cash compensation. It's a powerful signal that his reputation for performance, consistency, and delivering under pressure traveled with him across the Atlantic. He's instantly recognized as a high-value asset over there. Hashtag tag outro way.
All right, let's wrap up this deep dive. Mike Vecchione's story, it really is a fascinating case study, isn't it? Leveraging that incredible college success into a sustained pro career, all without hearing his name called on draft day. We've traced his path from, being Union College's all-time D1 scorer, that Hobey Baker nomination.
Yeah, and how that foundation allowed him to navigate the really tough, uncertain years in the AHL, bouncing between the Flyers, Blues, Avs organizations, always on those precarious, short-term, often two-way deals. But crucially, never letting that instability derail his production.
Which ultimately led him to Hershey, finding that stable home, that mutual commitment. And that's where he reaches professional peak, defined by winning back-to-back Calder Cups 2023 and 2024. And of course, etched into AHL history with that Game 7 OT winner.
That incredible run in Hershey clearly gave him the platform, the credentials to make that calculated high-value move to the KHL, landing with Barys Astana after that quick trade.
And it's good to remember the backdrop to all this, too. The support system. Our sources mention his family born in Saugus to Diane and Joe, his older siblings Michelle and Joe. That kind of long-term family support, that community foundation, it feels essential for a player navigating the ups and downs, the uncertainty, especially of that early pro career grind.
Absolutely. It takes a village, as they say, and probably even more so when you're taking the harder, undrafted route.
It really is a story about making the absolute most of every single opportunity, especially the ones you have to create for yourself. Okay, so here's a final thought we want to leave you, the listener, with today. Something to chew on that connects Vecchione's specific journey to the wider hockey world.
Right. Vecchione's career really pushes back against the idea that you have to be drafted or drafted high to have a significant, successful pro career. He proved that consistent excellence, developing your game over time, and demonstrating you can perform when it matters most that can build immense value that's recognized internationally.
So the question becomes,
Yeah, the question is, how many other players like him are out there? Elite AHL veterans, guys who consistently produce, maybe win championships, but keep hitting that NHL ceiling. Will more of them look at Vecchione's path and see the KHL or maybe other top European leagues as a viable, high-reward option? A place where they can be stars, make great money, and leverage that hard-earned AHL success onto a global stage. If that happens more often, it could really start to shift how NHL organizations value and maybe try to retain their top minor league talent. It's a potential shift in player power driven by guys who took the long road.
a really compelling trajectory, Saugus persistence, leading all the way to Kazakhstan and making waves internationally. That was the deep dive on Mike Vecchione. Thanks so much for joining us.